Hi, I'm Kale, and I'm a preacher's daughter.
And I'm Eden, and I'm also a preacher's daughter.
And this is Gay Girls, Good God.
Christian content from a queer perspective.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
It is 2024, which is really weird. I saw this TikTok that said 4 years ago was not 2016. It was 2020. And I said, you shut the fuck up.
We're
right
literally
now.
We're like 1 month away from the 4 year anniversary of the
Because
pandemic. What do you mean?
I always reference like me going to South Korea. Bitch, that was 4 years ago. Get over it.
4 years.
Get over it.
That's me with like when the pandemic hit, that is when time stopped and when time began.
That's also so close to when we both talk about like when we woke up.
Exactly. It's because like for me, that's when I was in college for one full semester, and I was like just starting to come out to my closest friends. I was like, oh my God, wait, this is kind of slay. I'm finally out of my parents' house. And then boom, I had to go back and everything ground to a halt, and it forced me to realize, oh, I can't go back.
I feel like in terms of coming of age films, COVID is to Gen Z what 9/11 was to millennials.
Oh, mama. Yes. You know? It is our 9/11, but also like shout out to the millennials, but it was so much worse than 9/11.
Because
oh,
9/11,
you watched it on your TV at school.
Well, it did affect other stuff.
I don't give a fuck.
It did country music. Do you know how much it affected episode incoming?
R.I.P. to the Dixie Chicks. The Dixie Chicks. Someone today at work. Someone said the Chicks. Someone today at work said something about to me about the Dixie Chicks, and I said, "What did you call me?" And they said, "What?" And I said, "A dick chick." And they said, I mean, yeah. And then they went, oh, "You are bad." And I keep like, You are bad. I've been walking around all day in my head going, "You are bad."
That's what I say to myself when I go for the extra Hawaiian roll in the pantry. You are bad.
You are bad. We should get some fries. But like, are you guys gonna eat them? Because I don't want to feel fat.
We'll have fries for the table. I know you'll have fries. Shout out to John Mulaney, friend of the pod.
John Mulaney.
Sometimes.
Oh. Well, only when he's addicted to drugs. When he's in recovery, we're not about it.
Yeah.
One thing we're not about on this.
His wife's Instagram when they were going through their divorce.
Girl.
Artistic. Bitch.
And a performance piece for the ages.
Oh, when she posted a picture of herself doing the same pose as one of Henry's, the Henry with the wives. I think it's the 7th or the 8th. Couldn't be bothered to tell you which one, but she did.
8th, King Henry the 8th, and
she wanted nothing. 5th? Yeah, the one divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. That
6th,
one,
the musical.
Friend of the pod, 6th the musical. The one about and like she posted like about one of the wives who wanted nothing more than to give Henry a son. Yes, bitch. And then John Mulaney had a child with Olivia Munn. The drama. Theater girls everywhere destroyed.
The fanfic writer said, "Write that down. Take notes." Girl, that was powerful. Oh my God. And the sensitive bitch in me. Okay, here's one thing. I'm addicted to suffering. Call me crazy. I'm addicted to suffering.
It's the Calvinists in us.
It's the Calvinists in us.
It's the recovering Calvinist.
It's the Mama, I'm a recovering Calvaholic.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, suffer.
Suffer because suffering feels meaningful.
That's why there's so much trauma porn horror right now, by the way, I feel like.
Really?
Because there's been so much. You haven't noticed it in horror movies. It's just become what trauma can be porn? Yeah.
See, I feel like it's directors' cheap and misunderstanding of what makes telling underrepresented stories important. And they're just doing a liberal cash grab to be like, oh, we're now telling stories about women. Let's just put rape all over the screen. So
That's true.
Because then it's pandering to the dominant gaze while also still being like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Jordan Peele was a massive success.
Oh, absolutely.
And ever since Get Out, like hit box offices and destroyed it, everyone has been doing much worse and shittier versions of Get Out.
That's true. Every time I sigh, I feel like pheromone, by the way. No. In the roast challenge, when after every joke she goes,
No, wait. Let's get this roast to cooking. Every time we go through and edit our podcast, I realize how much we fucking wheeze, especially me. And then I'm like, oh my God, we're Katya. We're just Katya.
See, that's the thing. It's maybe I was never Trixie. Maybe we're just two Katyas in a room. But no, I'm definitely Trixie. But also sometimes when it comes to reactions and how we laugh at things, we are both Katyas. Because we're gonna, whenever we say something that like clicks just right, the other one will lose their goddamn mind.
The dangerous thing about us drinking together is that, Mama, there's depends out the wazoo because we're pissing ourselves.
We piss all over that stage.
Pissed all over that stage, bitch. Oh, we should probably get to the pod. Sister Kale.
Oh my God. We're having a podcast.
Let me ask you a natural transitionary question. Who are you praying for?
I am praying for anyone who has ever had to deal with the fucking criminal justice system.
Bitch.
Because,
Amen.
Oh
Amen.
my fucking God. This has been a almost year and a half long process. And they just are like, oh, well, like I have to be a witness in court in like a month. And they're like, oh, we'll call you maybe later today about when you have a video call to meet. And then don't hear from them for 2 weeks.
Which is fucking insane.
Like, this isn't like a really important thing to me in my recovery.
No.
And like moving past it. It's not like a lot of my psyche is hinging on this event right now or
literally
anything.
And that's it's not like this
and they're just like, well, we might call you back today, and probably not though.
Phone tag you back. Like also that's one of the worst parts about the fact that our criminal justice system is just focused on like mindless punishment is because when your goal is to like hurt people that hurt others, then you never allocate resources for taking care of the people that were hurt.
Right.
If the whole system just exists to put people in prison, then no one's job is to actually go out and make sure that the people who were like harmed are getting the resources they need. And
obviously the point of the current United States criminal justice system is to just put people in prison for as long as possible, like especially people of color. It's still like, if you're gonna do that, why not? What's the point of a trial even? Because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why are we drawing this out?
Why are we going through, girl? So anyway, what we're saying is abolish due process.
No, it doesn't make sense to me why it's just this facade. Like, it's the facade of it all. Like, oh, this is due process.
It's a fucking like, Mama. It's a facade. It's all bullshit. It's security theater. None of it actually means shit. They're just pretending that it does so that they can go on exercising power.
Oh my God. So, Sister Eda, what are you praying for?
I'm praying for you.
Thank you.
I think I'm praying for, you know what? I'm praying for John Mulaney's ex-wife. You know what? You brought her up. She is heavy on my heart this week. Let me just say.
Absolutely.
I hope that she is.
What is her name?
I don't know. No, you're right. Because she can't just be John Mulaney's ex-wife. We're going to put this in.
Anna Marie Tindler.
Anna Marie Tindler, I'm talking to you.
This is free. I knew it had to do with Anna because I was like, I feel like it has to do with Anne or Anna because one of the wives was Anne Boleyn. And I was like, I knew there was a connection there.
Anna Marie Tindler, friend of the pod.
Friend of the motherfucking, but also John Mulaney, friend of the pod. And it's like, what is this?
2017 John Mulaney, friend of the pod.
So sudden and new.
I felt at the moment I laid eyes on you.
Mallory Eckstein, friend of the pod.
Mallory Eckstein, we love you.
We did that. We did a duet together.
Oh, I remember you showing me the recording.
Yeah.
I'll never forget freshman year, Mallory Eckstein sitting in the bus with me in my honors college class colloquium on the way to Florida for a trip. And her showing me being like, have you seen this video? And this person going, Gumai gel I bean I can't die.
Think about Mallory Eckstein, friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod.
She can clock a queer. There are certain people who can just clock a queer bitch, but before they even know.
A fruit fly.
A fruit
fly.
Fruit flies, friend of the pod.
Fruit fly, friend of the pod.
Fruit flies, friend of the pod. Things that are fake, gaydars. Things that are real, Fruit flies.
Fruit flies. I was talking to someone about this at work the other day. They're like, my gaydar is so bad. And I hadn't even thought about that in forever. Because I feel like once you're actually surrounded by queer people for long enough, I'm not going to say like, you can always tell or whatever, but it's almost like, I don't even have to think anymore about like, are they gay? Are they not?
Right.
That's not a question in my mind. It's just like, it's almost like, yeah, they're bi.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gay. Like, it's just natural. You know what I mean?
No, I absolutely know what you mean.
And some straight people have that intuition.
And we've talked about them before. It's like, and it's not just saying like you have a good taste in fashion, but there are like certain straight people who are just like queer.
Yeah. And what we're saying is you can say the F and the T slur. You are allowed.
And because that's the thing about inclusivity and equity. It's all about slurs. Who can say the slurs?
Mama, well, let's take it to TikTok. That's all they think it is.
Jesus
They trade
Christ.
slurs like Pokemon cards. They're like, okay, but if I identify as this, can I have it?
I've got one D. Can I get an F?
Can I, me
maybe-
changing sexes? I got one D. If I trade it in, can I get an F on my driver's license?
Okay, so there was one year that Miss Southern Miss was Miss Mississippi, and she went to Miss United States. She made it to the top 5.
Period.
And so she had the interview question.
Period.
And so her question was obviously the year that gay marriage was legalized, and there was that one lady from Mississippi who said, I'm not going to give you a marriage license because that's my religious right. And they said...
And she's an icon for that. We support.
First and foremost, icon.
First and foreskin, icon.
And so, of course, they asked Miss Mississippi, a.k.a. Miss Southern Mississippi, a.k.a. Miss Pine Belt.
A.k.a. Miss Confederacy.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. They asked her all of that stuff. And I remember that was such a big deal because she was like, it is your job if you were... She was... And I was like... Oh my God, she's for the gays.
She's for the gays.
She just made Mississippi for the
Hallelujah.
gays. We're safe. Mississippi's a blue. We're blue now.
Mississippi is the democratic center of the nation. Miss Mississippi, she done got us together, y'all. I'll tell you what.
That's how serious I took Miss Mississippi.
There is no fucking leftist like a Southern leftist.
Oh my God.
The South is poor. It is full of people of color.
That's where it came from.
It is where a lot of fucking gay people are.
Yeah.
Like the South is mama, it's real and it's gritty. And so if a Southern woman,
it is a stagnant water.
It is a stagnant water, and we are mosquitoes coming right for your ass. If a Southern woman, has something weighing on her heart and she wants to tell it to you, she's gonna fucking tell it to you. Like, you know, like people are like, oh, they're so mean up north, bitch.
Like it's women's rage to a whole other, like female rage to a whole other extent.
Female rage, but it's Mama with the rolling pin in her hand chasing after you because you got into her fried pickles.
Don't joke about fried pickles.
Mama, don't play about the fried pickles. I'm telling you.
Kale don't play about the fried
Kale
pickles.
Kale don't play.
Oh my God.
Well,
what are we doing here?
I don't know.
I think we were supposed to talk about something today.
We had too much water before this pod. Wait.
Water.
Today, that's a great question. Today we're doing a little bit of a loosey-goosey one.
Oh, I love loosey-goosey.
Love loosey-goosey. Love loosey-goosey. Today, we are talking about prayer meetings. Prayer meetings.
I feel like there needs to be something similar to AA, except it's a bunch of preachers' children talking about the things they've witnessed during prayer meetings.
That's what this podcast is.
That is what we're doing today.
That's what we're doing today.
Oh, that is what we're doing today.
Continue in the comment section below. Comment your trauma with prayer meetings.
Put your syllables of choice.
Put your syllable. Or
depending.
Yeah. Keyboard smashing. You know what? To all you bottoms out there.
I want to hear from the keyboard smashers who go top left and people who go middle left and people who go middle right. Go middle right. Up left, right? All
right. The far right. People who go.
Watch your hand.
The thing that's like, this hailing a taxi, no-go zone. Exactly.
So
but we're
talking about prayer meetings.
We're talking about prayer meetings. Sister Kale, let me ask you, what is your experience in growing up with prayer meetings in broad strokes? Did your church have prayer meetings? What were they to you?
So, I have been a member of 4 churches in my lifetime. One, I was at 2 different times in my life. I was at it from birth to about age 9. And then again from about the age of 13 until I was about 18. And so that is what I call my home church. Period. And so most of the experience I talk about will be coming from that church and from the church that my dad is at currently, because I still go there occasionally. And so for that...
I could never.
Huh?
You're so brave for that.
Oh, it is... I am a chameleon. Come, chameleon. You come and go. So when I think about a prayer meeting, I think about Wednesday night. My grandfather prepares a meal for everyone. And then after that, we all go into the fellowship hall where we talk about prayer requests. And then there might be a little devotional. But usually the prayer requests take up 45 minutes to an hour.
Period.
And lots of things can go down. There's a variety of genres, if you will, of the type of prayer meeting that will happen.
They definitely
night.
follow into like clumps.
Yes, exactly. So that is usually, Wednesday night kind of flavor of the week. You know?
Yeah. I love that your grandfather would cook for everybody though. That's really cool.
that is one of my and that I feel like that describes so much of who I am, is because especially before I started school, my grandfather, because since both of my parents were teachers, before I started school, or my mom was in college, my grandfather really is the one who raised me, my brother, from ages like before I can remember until we started school. And so he would take us everywhere, and so I watched him through it. Like his entire week was centered around the different jobs he had at the church. And so he is one of the most wholesome experiences I have from religion, because he's just a genuinely like cool guy. But he would always prepare this meal because he was the music minister / education minister / like just outreach person. And then now we all walk after we eat. We all slowly walk together, corral. There's like a little imaginary border collie that herds us all into the fellowship
and that's
hall.
The Holy Spirit.
And
yes,
that is the Holy
is.
Spirit. So that's what I know about them.
I love that my experience was pretty much the same at both. You went to 4. I had 2 main churches in my life, not counting the OG church in Kentucky that I was only at till I was like 6 or so, because I don't remember too much from it. And then we left, and then we were at this one church all the way up until I was about like 13 or until I was like 14 or 15, I think. And then we switched over to the other church that my dad heads to this day.
Yeah.
And so it was mainly those 2 churches, and at both of them on Wednesday nights is when we would have prayer meetings.
It's a Wednesday night thing.
It's a Wednesday night
thing. And usually, at least for this 2, my ring. I'm not married anymore. Oh hell.
So you're single.
There would always be a thing for the kids to do during that time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what you were saying about like it could get kind of crazy or whatever, I always thought, especially at that second church, because that was a little bit more like podunk out in the woods or whatever with like the old people and like all that stuff. That was the Southern Baptist one. It always gave Parks and Rec town hall scene.
Oh my God.
A Parks and Rec town hall of it just cutting to people being like, well, I saw something in the watering hole. Like, it's crazy.
My dad and I had so many conversations about how funny it would be if there was a Parks and Rec like show about like a church.
We talked about that
because
too.
It could be so perfect, but it would have to be done by someone who has
grew
been
up in
there.
it. Yeah.
It couldn't be, because like the Lucifer show that came out, that was not made by someone who grew up in the church.
So, Hollywood executives, we know you're a friend of the pod. Hollywood executives, we would love to write that screenplay.
We would love to write that. That is honestly one of my biggest visions.
Vision? Hitting you like Raven Simone.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That is one of the things that like I think about because that's a lot of the type of because like you were on Southern Stuff with me. I love making a docuseries.
Oh yes,
I love a docuseries.
This bitch, we were orientation leaders at our college together. That's how we met. And this bitch went around like from the first week that we had our little retreat or whatever, all the way to the end of the summer, filming little clips and interview things, and then editing them together to make like a what was it like Big Brother or
it was a docuseries.
Yeah. The thing, upload them to YouTube, and everyone would be like, oh, "New video just dropped." We're all going.
That's just what I love doing. And so if I think about like my wildest dream,
we're not doing that anymore. Your voice is beautiful though. More singing on the pod. New Year's resolution. New Year's resolution.
When have I not sang on the pod? First of all,
I feel like I'm usually the one singing, and it's usually bad because I'm usually going.
Like I sing. I feel like we all sing.
I think we all sing.
So organic, but anyway, that is like my big outlandish dream is doing a docuseries about a church that is like in the style of The Office. Because if you were a child of someone who was involved in the church, not even a pastor's child, but like a deacon's child or like a music minister's child or something like that, you just see really weird like I could tell who was having an affair.
Girl, we have to talk about church affairs. We have to do an episode on church affairs because that shit, cat shit.
Are we into the pod? Can I go ahead and tell a story about a Wednesday night prayer meeting story?
Please. Before we jump into it, let me just go ahead and say, give a little bit of context.
Give some context,
for those
please.
of you who are not as familiar with the Christian faith or religion, do not grow up in it as much. Oftentimes, this is with Protestant denominations specifically, because a lot of other forms of Christianity, like Eastern Orthodox, Roman Catholic, even like Lutheran and stuff, they have meetings.
Oh, first of all, Lutherans kind of slay.
I would have to agree.
Yeah.
A lot of them meet every day. Like mass, like blah, blah, blah. It's a very Protestant thing to be like, on Sunday, we go to the church, and for the rest of the day, well, back row Baptist.
Because you have to work the other day.
You have to work.
Because you're capitalism's
mama.
Bitch.
You're capitalism bitch. John Calvin is the cuck sitting in the corner watching you get fucked by capitalism, like, yeah, baby. Yeah. John Calvin gooning mama. Gooning. Oh.
Why you're just
boom, boom, pile driving. Thum, 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 thum. Jesus with his.
But also, correction for the pod, it was actually would have been piercing his wrist, so it'd been more about.
You hear that, Mom? I wasn't emo. I was just trying to be like Jesus.
WWJD. Oh, WWJD.
Oh. So when we take it all the way, suddenly.
Suddenly Seymour.
So when Van Gogh cuts his ear off, it's artistic. When I do it, I'm scaring the kids at the playground.
When I'm doing it, I have to see someone about a demon.
Someone about a demon. So okay, yeah, let's move on. So a lot of them meet every week. It's a very Protestant thing to be like, we have church on Sundays and that's about it, and then we go and get our Jesus and then move on. However, this is according to, I believe, an article I read from Lifeway. So I don't know, girl.
Oh my God! It was, you said that two-syllable word.
Lifeway episode incoming. It was very hard to find like reliable and well-sourced information on this. I even like read through half of this manuscript of an 1870 book that was like digitized by the University of Michigan. Friend of the pod, University of Michigan.
Word?
But it was like kind of like the history of the prayer meeting or whatever. But it wasn't actually about that. It was like the history of the Protestant church in the United States. I don't know. All of this to say, it's very hard to actually find out where the Wednesday night or like prayer meeting originated. But most people kind of agree that during the Protestant Reformation, like the idea of having prayer meetings separately from your main service existed because people just wanted to commune.
Right.
And then in the great, what was it?
Great Awakening?
Yes. The Great Awakening. My dad would kill me. He loved the Great Awakening.
Yeah, that's where he draws the line.
That's where he draws the line. Yeah. During the Great Awakening, apparently like midweek Wednesday night services started to spring up a lot, and they got really popular in the mid 1900s because people had more free time.
I bet an old lady in the church is the first person who was like, you know what we should do? We should meet again. Halfway through the week.
You know what? I'm not done.
Because it's always that bitch, that woman who brings stuff up.
Praise it. I love. Okay. We got to get to your story first. You know what? I'm just gonna squeeze this in here. Anyway, that's why. So people started meeting on Wednesday nights so that they could pray specifically. It became a common tradition. I believe a study was done in Nashville by Lifeway that said 9 out of 10 Protestant churches have a Wednesday night meeting. But I will just say, one of my favorite things about the Wednesday night prayer meeting is the crier. There's always one lady who every single night, no matter what,
every church,
no matter what, whether it's a praise or a plea or whatever, just like, she'll start out strong, be like, I just wanted to bring up that blah, blah, and by the end she's like,
can I just say,
that? And then I just like praise him and he brought me here and I just love him so much and I'll think about it out. And everybody's like,
You and your siblings are like,
no, we're literally like giving side eye
together.
Shout out to Josh.
Yeah.
Like, girl, it's too much.
Oh my god.
The crier, love you, crier.
Love you, crier.
Hey,
Darlene.
the crier, friend of the pod.
Darlene. That's one of them.
There was a lady named Darlene in my church.
Really? Was that one of your criers? Darlene was one of our criers.
The town crier.
Darlene.
So, Sister Kale, tell your story about this Wednesday night church scandal.
So, it was some sort of prayer meeting. I can't tell you if it was a Wednesday night prayer meeting or if it was a mission trip prayer meeting.
It was a dark and humid night.
Because usually on mission trips, there's a prayer meeting every night. For our mission trips anyway.
We did not do mission trips. I know. We were Calvinists.
We did a couple mission trips a year. There was this one time, my grandfather tells a story that a lady stood up and said, I just want y'all to ask that God show some mercy in my life. I fell astray a couple months ago, and I cheated on my husband.
Wait, was her husband
and
there?
Then, no.
Okay, thank God.
And then, not too long later, my son came out as a homosexual.
Two evil things that she did.
My grandmother said, and like she was a crier. She was someone who was known for. It almost seems to bring up this. There are a lot of things that capitalize off women's need to the man-made manufacturing of women's need to compete with one another.
Oh,
and prayer meetings kind of do exemplify that.
Not kind of. That's all they are.
Yeah,
it's a one-upping.
And that my grandfather always talks about. That's where he thinks this came from. This outpouring of information, this vulnerability came from. Is she wanted to be the one in need of the most prayer.
Yeah.
And so he wrote this little song, and I think of it all the time when someone is making a scene, and it's look at me. My son is a homo and I committed adultery. And I think
title of my memoir, by the way.
I think of that almost daily. Daily.
That is so. This is why all of the best writers are from the South. I don't think y'all understand. The craziest shit happens here. That's so real though. Because what like a lot of what the part of Christianity that's put to the forefront during prayer meetings is the what we've talked about before of the lionization of misery itself, of suffering, of like we're praying prayer requests for everybody going through like cancer and like all that stuff, obviously, but also like just this reveling in the pity and the disgustingness and the filth of your own life in front of everyone.
Yeah.
In a catharsis that is not one through empathy, but rather through like fetishization, through observation. Like, look at how awful this is. And everyone goes, it's awful. And they don't try to make it better. They pray about it.
It's like Midsummer.
Your son is a homo. Your son is a homo.
You committed adultery.
You committed adultery.
See, and I think that comes from the fact that the way that, especially in the South and especially in places that are more isolated than others, like in small towns, that is the only community you have. So if you are someone who has a personality that gravitates towards needing approval, if you are someone who needs approval, you are going to go to your community. And if your community prioritizes, if the main source of communication with your community is coming from those prayer meetings, of course you are going to try and take that as your time to like have some sort of like welcoming or embrace from that community.
That's where so much, almost all of the darker parts of Christian and honestly most religious cultures come from, is the remote separatist nature of the communities. Like, and you see it in the most extreme version with the Amish or whatever.
Right.
Because what that does is when you have a very small like community that is the only thing you have in your remote part of the world, of the United States or whatever, then their approval and their acceptance of you is everything. Because if you lose that, you have nothing. So any standard that they set, any expectation that they have, any like view of morality that they possess, you better follow it to a T. Otherwise, you are threatened with ostracization and disapproval.
Which is part of the thing that, you know, keeps people there is like, oh, if you fuck up, if you get away from this, then you have nothing.
You have nothing.
And so for people who, you know, not me, y'all stay safe, not me, but for people who crave the approval of the people who are like most important to them, to not constantly have affirmation like the amens and the laying of the hands and the like, I'm praying for you, sisters, to not have those. To not know that I'm in the minds of those in my community, I'm not in their thoughts and prayers. It's devastating.
Mama, devastating.
If I knew that a day went by where you didn't think about me, I'd be like, the end of the world.
Do you think there's a day that goes
No.
by? Oh my God.
Went the other way around.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Sisters doing it for them.
Wait, freeze.
Insert shutter sound. We gotta. We're too gay.
Your story.
I don't remember what I was gonna say. Oh shit! It all comes back to abuse because that's what you're talking about. That's your only support system. Blah blah blah. So the only way to get people out of that is to give them another support system. The only way. It's all about material.
For help.
Mama, material conditions. We have to bring it back to material analysis. That's the one thing we need y'all to take from this.
Remember, children. Capitalism.
Even if you are not a communist, I don't know why you wouldn't be. Even if at least try and be a Marxist, in that we live in a material world, and the only thing that affects our behavior, our consciousness, our way of interacting with others is our material conditions. If someone is going through an abusive dynamic with their community, with a partner, you can't just tell them, girl, leave. You're better than that.
Right.
They're not going to be able to understand that, believe it, internalize it. You have to provide them a different support system that is better, this is just as powerful, so that they can feel empowered to leave that abusive situation. They need a bank account. They need a place to stay. All that shit. For my church, there were two main criers. One of them, I think, Oh my God, yes. She was married. Her husband was never at church. In fact, there was a rumor that went around that he's an atheist. And we don't talk. Oh, Mama, scandal.
Better than
Mama,
a Catholic.
Scandal. Better dead than Roman Catholic, I always say.
Hell yeah.
That scandal on ABC, it was too much. However, there was another crier who did have a husband that came to church. I almost just said his name. I don't know why I would say that.
Name dropping on the pod.
Name dropping on the pod. His name was Donald Trump Jr. No,
Oh my God.
So he would come and sit next to her, and she would do the crying or whatever, and he would just sit there like this every time.
Oh my God.
He always looked so uncomfortable. He never spoke. I never heard him say one word in my life.
Every time.
Every single damn time.
Yeah, and yeah, when there's two criers, it can get competitive too.
It does get competitive.
Yeah, because they'll go back and forth.
Yes,
like,
Mama.
Oh, and by the way.
But that's the thing. When they'll be like, they do that thing where it starts off normal, then it escalates, and then they'll be like, and then when they finally conclude, you're like, okay. And then the next crier goes, and they're like, well, in this community where we prize suffering, and that's how we get our validation, I feel drawn to prove that I'm suffering even more. And so they go out and, ever since my son came out as a homo, and my aunt got liver cancer or whatever. And then the other one goes like,
I need forgiveness.
Yes,
and then fucked another man in the back of his Ford F-150. He bit me over sideways. And he gave it to me real hard.
And I know what happened to old Sodom and Gomorrah, but I did put that strap on, and I gave it right back to him. I'll tell you what, Jebediah, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have told anybody about this.
And then we drove to the Wendy's and got Frosties, and then we parked in the parking lot, and we did it again.
We used that Frosty's lube.
You fucked me hard as
Then the other one stands up. I'm a lesbian. I'm gay. This man is gay and European.
Look, I have a dildo in my purse. It's right here. Please, God, forgive me.
I'm wearing a butt plug right now.
Look.
Mine's remote controlled.
Did y'all do a special prayer meeting at Thanksgiving? Where you were more reflective on the things that the things that God has answered in your life?
Yes, we didn't like well, this is a good time to talk about let's talk about the way that they were structured. The way that our prayer meetings were on Wednesday night is we would all go into like the worship hall or whatever, and we would sit, and my dad would put a whiteboard up in the middle. My dad was also a teacher.
Same.
Yeah. So he would put a whiteboard up in the middle, and he would sit there and he would talk. It would be much more casual. We'd show up in like t-shirts or whatever.
Yeah,
and
we have a dress. We didn't wear a dress.
Exactly.
We wore jeans.
I wore a dress just for shits and giggles, so I could get fucked by that lady with the strap on. He would put up the whiteboard, and people would take turns being like, "Well, Maurice down at the Dollar General, he done got that pancreatic cancer back, and my dad would be like, all right.
Well, House Bill 284.
Yep, and he would write up on the board, Maurice cancer, or whatever.
Yeah.
We would just go down the line and fill up the whiteboard with prayer requests, and then we would get to the end, and then everyone would just bow their heads, and we'd all pray, and people would take turns, and what it would be is like, he'd be like, we're going to pray. If there's a moment of silence, that's okay. You can pray to yourself. No one feel pressure to fill that silence. We'll pray until we feel not led to.
But the Spirit leaves you.
Exactly. And so we would all bow our heads, and then usually the same few people would start off, and my dad would be like, I'll start tonight, and he'd pray. And then we would go one by one. Like, some people would pray more than once. We would keep our head bowed sometimes. And on some nights,
and there were people staged to pray.
Oh mama.
You didn't know,
mama. The choreography. Choreography of it all.
The deacons.
Some nights it would be like 3 to 5 people pray, and it like goes on for like 30 minutes after we finish talking about it, and so it's like an hour-long thing, and we're done. Period. Get out of there. Go sit in my room and jerk off to gay porn, go to bed. I'm great. Mm-hmm. Other times, the quickening of the Spirit would take hold, and we would be in that worship hall for 3 fucking hours, listening to people pray and back and forth, and they're feeding off each other's energy and stuff. Which, might I just say, let me stop and say, if I were Christian, that would be magical. Oh, I would love that sort of thing in like secular spaces when it comes to talking about like
your earring. Here's the back.
Oh my god, that was so funny. Your earring. If for like in secular spaces, in political spaces, if we were like just gathering in large groups and talking about the things that made us passionate back and forth for hours, love. Yeah. As a 16-year-old like teenage boy sitting there in the pew who didn't believe any of this shit, like I want to go home. Oh my god, these old like I was allowed to have video games. Oh, word. These old people won't shut up about their cancer. Like it was too much.
Can I just say, there's a parallel here that I want to discuss. The people, it was usually the men who would have their competition during the actual prayer time, and the women during the prayer request time.
Interesting.
Do you know what I mean? Do you feel like when they're in group settings, men would compete over whose prayer? I will never forget this one man prayed. His name was Jackie, so I'm gonna name drop him on the pod. I don't give a fuck.
Bitch.
I'm a bad bitch.
You're going rogue. You can't be tamed.
He said, Father, can we come here today humbly before you to feast? Full stop. What? To feast.
We got the booty. Father, we come here to go to the Wendy's parking lot and butt fuck that lady using the her feet.
Why did he? And this was a common occurrence. You have given us a magnificent display of your love.
Girl, that's
what they were doing audio porn.
And that's why I was sitting in the back pew gooning. Mama, one hand.
While the prayer requests are going like, oh my God, but what's the breakthrough?
Don't stop. No, don't stop. Face. And God, I pray that Brother Jim prays again so we can hear his beautiful voice raised up to you. That's such an excellent observation because thanks, Dad. The women would compete in the prayer requests of talking about like these admissions of guilt or of like
pray themselves
or
for it.
Bitch. Shout out in the comments below if your church believed that women were even allowed to pray because that is some crazy shit.
Me praying at the end of youth service was controversial. Me leading worship was controversial.
I bet it fucking was. Girl, you were a trailblazer. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for
in the comments. Let me know, should I go back to Christianity to be a trailblazer?
Let us know. Like and subscribe.
That those people being like, I'd kill for Jesus. Yes, go back, run to him.
Yes,
I will.
Someone commented on one of our last Instagram reels. I don't care. I'd kill for Jesus. It's like, okay, girl, go kill somebody then. See what happens, girl. You know what? I can think of someone you should kill.
I'm not gonna say who.
We can't say that on the pod. I think I commented back. It was about Jesus giving hand jobs, and I said like, I get it. I'd kill for that hand job too.
And would
and have. But bitch, because then the men would start because it's especially okay. Here's one thing. We're pastors' daughters, and we've never talked about this, but I already know you relate. There was almost like a weird ego and pride that came along with being like, well, my dad's the pastor, and watching other men try and like emulate or be above.
Your prayer will never top his prayer.
No, literally, of being like watching these other men like compare themselves to my father, or like try and measure up to my father, or like try and prove themselves against it, and being like.
Ha, ha, ha.
Ha, ha, ha. I have to laugh.
You think you can even try?
What the?
I don't know.
No, I liked it. Mama, Machiavellian.
Oh,
Machiavellian in the gig. We talk about, Mama, if y'all living in the North, you don't get it. Y'all who don't go to church, you don't get it. If you are in a Southern church, you know all about what those royal court power politics, backstabbing, conniving bullshit was about.
There are, what are the words? There are archetypes.
Archetypes, Mama. Archetypes. And a few of them are those men that would compete in prayer meeting because it's almost like
chairman of the deacons.
Mama, chairman of the deacons. That's their audition. Mm-hmm. Mama, they're auditioning.
Jesus.
They're performing.
Look, Jesus.
Look, Jesus, and also look, congregation. I am just as good of an orator. I can speak. I can be eloquent. I can use all the same buzzwords. I got this. Look at me. We come here to feast.
Yeah,
Mama. It's
and okay, the feast guy. He also could sing. And so I could always feel like he was looking at my grandfather with like a green eye, being like just waiting for so he could be the interim.
Because your grandfather was a music minister.
Who's gonna step into the place should something happen?
Oh, you know what I googled
Who's gonna feast?
Who's gonna feast on that open position? You know, emphasis on open. No, you know what I goon for? Well. Jesus called me to this path, so I'm gonna girl. People talking about their careers as a music minister, as a pastor, as a youth minister, whatever. Well, I feel led, girl. Yeah, I bet you fucking did.
I bet you do tax write off.
Yeah, I'm sure you felt led to that. Like, once a Sunday, I give a little like sermon that I know all the right buzzwords for, and I get an extra $500 a week.
My dad had a couple of people like this, and it's on topic because it would always come up during prayer meetings that were sort of my dad's proteges, maybe, and they would come forward saying that they want to give their life to the ministry.
Let me tell you. I have a theory about this. Go ahead.
They wanted grace to be shown upon them. They wanted the Nacho Libre eating the eagle egg diving moment.
Yes. And they had it. What do they get? What do they usually get?
They get the hands laid on. They get prayed for. They get support from the church, and they might become the youth pastor.
Honestly, did your dad ever mentor any of them specifically?
He would put them in charge of a breakout group, or he would put them in charge
a Bible study.
Yeah.
Yep. I experienced something similar to this as well, where young men would come to my father or whatever, especially as at the time a young man. Maybe I don't know. But it was such an interesting dynamic to see my father interact with them. First of all, in ways never interacted with me. Never talked to me or my brother. Girl. But second of all, it's this weird, I honestly think that those men, they just wanted to fuck him. Mama, they just wanted to fuck him. They wanted to fuck your dad. It's this Freudian bullshit of these young men who feel so drawn to this authority figure and this power and also want to emulate him, but also the desire and the way that they look and talk and interact in the body language. Mama, that is attraction.
It reminds me of that.
It's gay.
Yeah, that thing going around about men who in their vows want to make sure it's known that they are still getting their sexual and they are still fucking the shit out of their wife. And it's because, who are they saying that for? They're saying for the other men. They're not saying for the women in the room. They're saying for the other men. Because that is the person, it is homoerotic attraction in the way that is whose approval matters the most.
Let me make this worth y'all's time. Let me make this a little bit educational. It's called homosociality.
Yeah.
The way in which men relate to other men through the use of women. Wherein women, or it can go the other way around with women with men, but it's usually discussed in critical theory in terms of men relating to other men. Men only see other men as truly human on the same level as them, and therefore women are not treated as equal social objects or social characters through which to interact. They're instead treated as methods of intimacy with which to communicate with other men. You don't want the hottest girl in the room because you're the most attracted to her. You want the hottest girl in the room
so everyone else sees that you have the hottest girl in the room.
You're the man with the hottest girl in the room, and every man knows you're tapping that. Bitch, everyone knows you want dumpy Cheryl with the fucking saggy left tit.
Hey.
Me. I don't know. It's too much. But that performative heterosexuality, girl, who are you trying to convince?
Yeah.
Who are you trying to convince?
Then that's again, it is because it comes back to the whole thing that to me, prayer meetings are the town hall meetings of a small town Christian. That is where they meet with their community to express their ideas, their concerns. And so that is truly where you get on display. You get to see all the inner workings of the relationships that everyone has in that, especially if you have a small church.
Yes.
That everyone has with each other.
Because during the actual Sunday service, it's very structured. You will get a little bit of insight into the power dynamics and stuff when it comes to things
have a meet and greet time.
Yes, meet and greet, singing the special, stuff like that. But most of it is taken up by just the congregation singing together and also by the sermon. On Wednesday nights, during prayer meetings, what you get is a fucking free-for-all. It is WWE WrestleMania SmackDown. It is jumping pews and jumping bitches in the parking lot.
That is where you find out who is who of the church.
Who's top dog?
Whose son is a homosexual this week?
And this week, coming up at 130 pounds, Miss Margaret with the gay son.
Give it up for Mark. And Dusty Bottoms. No. There was a guy at my church who was gay, and my dad called his boyfriend Dusty Bottoms. And guess what? His mother prayed for him. His mother prayed for him during Wednesday night church.
What? I'm concerned. I'm concerned that your father is making these niche homosexual references. He's like, oh, is he a pig sloppy bottom on the gig? Your dad being like, oh my God, I bet he does poppers every weekend, girl. Can I just say, I know he's not listening, so let me just say, I know my dad's done some gay shit. I feel like your dad's done some gay shit too.
The amount of drugs they did, there's no way they didn't explore
the amount of drugs that they did.
Body.
The amount of my dad was in sports in the 90s.
Our dads, they were football coaches.
My
dad was also in sports.
My dad played football in high school and in college.
Yeah, my dad was a sports coaching major.
Mama, I know you're listening.
Oh my God.
That gay shit that they did.
And the way he talks about his friend group.
Girl, gay.
You and Tommy.
Girl, ancient Hebrew dick in the booty hole. Mama, that's what Mama in the Wendy's parking lot.
In the Wendy's parking lot. And they're the motherfuckers leading this town hall meeting.
Girl, they're the motherfuckers leading my house hall meeting about me being gay.
And I have to imagine, especially with my dad. My dad, I have to give him that he was aware enough to realize how absurd these prayer meetings were. Just listening to all these people trauma dump something about their second cousin twice removed who no one else in the congregation, unless you're in sometimes a lot of people are related in the church, like for our church.
Oh,
but
mama, yeah. Four families. Yeah.
Yes. But when you hear, like, especially for the pastor whose kids don't know any of these people, you're just hearing someone talk about this, and my dad's just sitting there going, yeah.
Exact. Bitch.
Yeah.
And extrapolating from this, I know you relate to this too. You almost feeling this winking, like side eye, intellectual superiority to the congregation with your father.
And when your dad would look at you.
And you feel, mama, the intellectual validation, the approval, dad, me and you, we know. We're above these people. Girl.
Oh my God. Prayer meetings.
I have a story.
You have a story.
I have a story. When I was 16 years old, I came out as bisexual on Instagram.
Oh, hell yeah.
Mama, I was outed recently in the county for a long story I will not go into. And that night I was like, you know what? It's Bisexual Awareness Day.
I'm taking my fate into my hands.
I'm taking this into my own hands. I posted a picture and the caption was, by the way, I'm kind of gay. I do not.
Mine was always been a bit queer, so.
I do not support who he was, but I see him, I recognize him, and I'm disgusted by him. The thing is, so I posted that.
I see you.
I literally just posted that, got in the shower, got out. My mom and dad were sitting at the dining room table, and they looked at me in a certain way, and I was like, because they already knew at that point.
Yeah.
And I was like, anyways. I did not go to prayer meeting that Wednesday, and I never went to a prayer meeting after that because I was like, I'm not doing it. In fact, I only went to Sunday church. Like, if I had to, I would sit in the back, and then I'd leave because I could drive at that point. Girl, scandal. The next week, my friend who went to my church, Nemo, friend of the pod, Nemo, we know you're watching. Nemo was like, well, at prayer meeting, they were praying for you. And I was like, what do you mean? They were talking about and they were saying they're trying to cast out the demons, all that stuff. I was like, girl. Then I went to school. Mama, 3 different churches had me in their prayer meetings that week.
That is a small town.
Mama, small town, Union County, Mississippi. I was the talk of the motherfucking town. I was the only person in all 4 county schools who had ever come out as queer in that generation. There was one person a few years before, but he had long since graduated, and they were like, I was the child of the head football coach. I was the child of the football coach who created the Union County football program that then turned into the one for one school. I was a pastor's kid. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, all eyes on me. And that's where my complex, my main character complex comes from. Because I'm like, everyone is just looking at me and they don't get it. I have to be perfect. Girl.
At my church, there was a page on the back of the bulletin. There was a whole prayer request page on the bulletin that was made every week. And on the back page, it was prayers for salvation. And that was where you put all the people who needed to be prayed for to ask Jesus into their hearts.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It was like a little black book.
And these people don't know their names are on this list.
Which is insane.
It's like coworkers.
You know what I think about a lot? I wonder because you know what? Shout out to mom, friend of the pod, whatever.
Heather Doom.
Every single time I get a text from any one of my like my mom, my dad doesn't talk to me anymore. Like grandparents or whatever, anything. It's always, I'm praying for you, praying for you. I wonder how many times of those is at a prayer meeting. Because I would I'm not pressed about it anymore. It's all funny to me. Like I have financial independence, whatever. I don't care. I would love to be a fly on the wall in a room while I hear the old ladies at my church talk about me. I would love that. Well, you know, he thinks he's a woman now.
Or
I wonder if he still has a penis. Like I would love to hear. That would be so funny.
You know, she showed so much promise when she was here, and we just hope she gets back on track one day.
He was such a handsome young man. By the way, wasn't.
For the record.
For the record. I mean, some of those deacons thought so. But that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. Segue. Sister Kale.
Yes.
Do you have a verse of the day for us today?
I do have a verse of the day for us today.
Awesome. What is that verse?
So today's verse of the day is going to be Matthew 18:20. And it says, "For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, I am there among them." And what I want to get from that message today, because it is on the topic of, meetings and gatherings, and I want to throw this out to all the circles, all the smoking circles in the world. Next time you light a bowl, light a joint, just say, Jesus Christ, right before you start smoking, and you'll be blessed.
And you'll be blessed, mama.
That will be a blessed smoke sesh.
What's that song, Holy Smokes? That's about, Jesus being a stoner?
I think if Jesus drives an Astro van.
Mama.
I don't want to see those tears again. Yeah.
Jesus would have been such a stoner. And I know that's such a stoner thing to say.
No, but did y'all read the Bible?
The Holly Bible? Yeah. Mama. I love that. Before you light up with your besties, mama.
Say a little prayer.
Invoke the name of the Son of God. Say a little prayer for you.
Because that's just that. I mean, I think that's the most successful way to have a holy, spiritual, revolutionary smoke sesh.
Especially if you're smoking with your homies that didn't grow up in the church, it's a great way to introduce religion to them while they're high. They're blissed out of their mind so I know you've never really seriously considered the doctrine of Jesus Christ our Savior, but you do have an eternal soul that could go to hell at any moment. And I really do need to take this opportunity to tell you that you could spend eternity being anally demolished by fire demons, and I would be a bad friend if I didn't tell you that is a real possibility and that you need to repent right now. We can do it right now. You can, if you're crying, that means it's real. If you're crying, that means it's real. If you're crying, that means it's real. It is real. This is all real. Look at me in the eye. This is happening now. Take him into your soul. It's mama.
That's what my dad, actually, that's when he tells his testimony. He says that when he was on acid, he saw a demon and an angel fighting for his soul. First of all, what the fuck?
First of all, those were your cats. First of all, that's me, tripping balls, looking at the clouds and being like, oh my God. It's God, but it's me. And but I don't tell a whole group of people that they need to pay me to talk to them about that God for years. Mama.
No, miss me with that gay shit.
You know what? I do tell people to pay me for it though.
What?
And this is a prayer request. I have a prayer request. And I'm working on swallowing my pride this year. So one thing I am doing is I am launching a GoFundMe for my transition surgeries. I am, right?
Yeah.
And it's not I need this money, blah, blah, blah. It's I would like to have this extra few $1,000s so I can put down the deposits on my transition surgeries. I am working a lot of jobs right now, or I'm getting a second job. I have one, and I'm doing other side gigs to save up before the end of the year. But it will be hard for me to get that deposit unless I have a little bit of extra help. So,
yeah.
If you have the ability to, there is a link in the bio, the description for you to donate. If not, don't worry about it. If you can share it, share it. If not, you hate trans people. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. I'll see you in the Wendy's parking lot, I'll see you in the Wendy's parking lot, girl.
Yeah.
But if you are able to, I would very much greatly appreciate it. And if not, you know what? Just pray for me. Pray for me.
Pray for her in these times.
Pray for me in these trying times. Having a penis.
My jawline.
My girl.
I think he's beautiful.
She's kind of cunt.
Yeah, she is.
She's very gay, too.
Very gay. Just like God. God is gay all the time.
And all the time, God is gay.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you all so much for listening to today's service. And as always, thank you to our music minister, Brother Sam, for creating that beautiful piece of music that is our intro and outro.
And if you are a visitor with us today, if you don't mind hitting that subscribe button and rating us 5 stars wherever you're listening, and if you love the show next week when you come back, why don't you bring a friend?
And remember, God is gay all the time.
And all the time, God is gay.